All right, let's dive into a problem that is, well, basically as old as time. The classic conflict between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. But we're going to look at it through a really unique and, frankly, pretty counterintuitive philosophical lens today. I mean, we've all heard the stories, right? Maybe some of us have even lived them. It's a dynamic that feels universal. But the source material we're digging into today asks a really fundamental question. Why does this specific conflict feel so uniquely personal and so deeply, deeply painful for everyone involved? And the answer, according to this philosophy, it's pretty startling. It suggests the entire fire gets lit from a single powerful and often totally subconscious belief in the mind of the newcomer, the daughter-in-law. And that's the idea that she has, for all intents and purposes, stolen the sun. So where does a feeling like that even come from? Well, the speaker argues the root cause isn't malice. It's not about bad intentions on either side. Instead, it all stems from a very particular kind of ignorance. Now, it is absolutely crucial that we understand what ignorance means here. This is not about being uneducated or not having a degree, not at all. It's about a kind of blindness, a failure to see and really appreciate the incredibly deep and complex web of emotional bonds, of history, of attachments that existed in that family long, long before you ever showed up. And what's so fascinating here is how the conflict gets framed. It's not just about two people who don't like each other. No, it's a struggle over a shared relationship. The daughter-in-law, maybe without even realizing it, acts as if she's taken something valuable. At the same time, the mother-in-law instinctively fights not to lose what she feels has always been hers. You see, it's set up as a win-lose game from the very start. And that initial dynamic, it doesn't just stay at a low simmer. According to this source, it kicks off a totally predictable and really destructive chain reaction, a cycle of negative emotion that just keeps escalating. And this just lays out that emotional journey perfectly. The conflict doesn't start with big, shouting matches. It begins really subtly, with one person just feeling wronged, quietly blaming the other. But that feeling then deepens into a real sense of injustice, of indignation. And that hardens into active anger. And if you let it keep going, it explodes into that final destructive stage, rage. So what's fueling this climb up the ladder? Well, the speaker describes it almost like physics, like an exchange of negative energies or frequencies. Think about it. Every resentful thought, every sharp comment sent out is met with one in return. And this back and forth just amplifies the whole thing, making the bad energy worse with every single interaction. Okay, so if that's the diagnosis of the problem, what on earth is the solution? This is where this philosophy gets really, really radical. It actually prescribes a period of intense, disciplined training for the newcomer. The path to wisdom is laid out as this 3-year timeline. For the first entire year, the daughter-in-law is told to do one thing: observe. Just observe. She's told to close her mouth, close her ears, close her eyes to any judgment, and simply absorb the family's culture, its history, all its unspoken rules. By the end of 3 years of this silent study, the idea is that she will have gained a truly profound understanding. And the whole goal of this 3-year apprenticeship is to transform, to become what the speaker calls a dojin, a wise person. The goal isn't just to survive the family. It's to gain the deep insight you need to actually heal its dysfunctions and guide its relationships. Basically, to become the solution, not just another part of the problem. But this philosophy doesn't just stop at solving arguments. It goes way bigger, and it starts to challenge our fundamental ideas about the whole purpose of marriage, and even the definition of love itself. And here we have one of the most provocative arguments from the source. It suggests that a wife's main purpose in joining a new family isn't to be showered with affection or to receive love, but to use her wisdom to identify and fix the problems that were already there in her husband's household. Her role is that of a healer, a harmonizer. This slide illustrates the distinction so well. There's this difference between everyday affection and a much deeper state of being, what we so often call love. It's framed here as just liking. It's conditional, right? It goes up and down, it's transactional. But true love, in this view, is a completely different animal. It's constant, it's stable, and it's not something you just get at the start. It's something that shows up naturally after you have fulfilled your duty. It's earned through action, and it results in this serene, inner smiling heart. So, after exploring the root of the conflict, how it escalates, and this pretty radical redefinition of purpose, what's the ultimate takeaway here? Well, it all comes down to a very clear and, pretty challenging assignment of responsibility.
So, to sum up this whole philosophy, while both people might be acting from a place of ignorance, the responsibility for changing things is not shared equally. The duty to understand, to adapt, and to ultimately resolve the conflict, it falls entirely on the person who has just entered the system. She has to operate from the assumption that there is a reason for all this conflict that she just can't see yet. And to fail in this duty, well, that's to allow the entire family system, including the husband who's caught right in the middle, to suffer.
And this brings us to our final question. This philosophy, which grew out of a very specific cultural context, it forces all of us to confront a much bigger, more universal dilemma. In our modern world, where individual happiness is prized so highly, how do we balance these ideas of deep family duty against our really powerful need for self-fulfillment? Where do you even begin to draw that line?